Tools and twisties, precision tools, performance cars. Ratchet wars continue. Who's going to win? Which are the ones you should buy? Which are the ones you should avoid? Today's installment number 4 of the Ratchet Wars series, and we're looking at 3 Japanese ratchets today. We're looking at a Nepros, a Koken, and a Tona. Which ones do I like? What are the differences? Which ones do I think you should consider? Let's start with the Nepros. Nepros makes some beautiful tools. This is about $175, made in Japan, lifetime warranty. It is I think a 90-tooth ratchet. It's a little bit coarse sounding. Backdrag is not nearly as good as the Kokens. The beauty of it is amazing. It weighs in at 15 ounces. Balance of it is pretty good. Not as good in balance or backdrag as the Koken. One of my favorites. Backdrag is super light. The gear mechanism is silky smooth. It does have one detent to hold it in straight ahead position. Other than that, it is a non-detented ratchet, non-locking head ratchet. The Nepros has no detent, but has a nice, nice feel to the swivel, and kind of locks in position, doesn't want to move around too much. Both of these are quick release. The Nepros one has a pretty recessed button in it, and the Koken has a more proud button on it. The Koken ratchets are just really good. This one's about 85 bucks. I think I mentioned this one's about 150 bucks. See, the weight on the Koken is a little bit lighter, about 14 ounces. Let's look at the Tona real quick. Tona is a cheaper, less expensive ratchet, also made in Japan. Really nicely made. It's a little bit different style, a little bit different design. All 3 of these have very compact heads on them. We looked at the snap-on and some other ratchets in earlier series, but just to bring one of those back, you can see all 3 of these Japanese ratchets have much smaller heads than everything we've looked at so far, and that can be nice. Maybe they're also not the ratchet you want to grab. If you really should be grabbing a half-inch or a breaker bar, but hey, I'm going to use my 3/8 inch instead. Also, I think with Japanese ratchets, I think these all have lifetime warranties. However, getting a tool replaced may not be quite as easy as either a U.S. tool truck brand like Snap-on or Matco, or a Harbor Freight brand, which is super easy to just walk in the store and get a replacement. I think that with the Japanese ratchets, if you're working with like Koken USA, they may want to see proof of purchase to make sure it was purchased at a U.S. distributor and not a Japanese gray market importer, and probably the same with Nepros. So I think with these, the worst case is you're probably going to blow out the pawls inside. You can buy rebuild kits for them and fix it yourself. I doubt you'd be snapping the handles on them. Maybe the pivots. But I love my Japanese ratchets, but I think that you do have to take into consideration they may not be quite as easy to warranty as some of the others. I don't know if we heard the Tona has more backdrag. It has more of a satin chrome finish on it. Really nice, a little bit shorter handled. Feels great in the hand. Again, Koken, it feels like magic. You put it in your hand. And the Nepros, expensive ratchet. So out of these 3, I would say, the Koken, fabulous. You should have one in your collection if you don't already. Even if it's your only ratchet, Koken ratchet. Nepros, beautiful. I'm glad to own it, but it's not the one I'm reaching for to actually use as a tool. I think it's a beautiful, pretty object to have. And the Tona, I think, is nice because you can get a sort of a Japanese-made ratchet for a Taiwanese-made price. Some people, will dispute whether or not these are in fact made in Japan, and it is labeled Japan right on it, and on the packaging it says made in Japan. And if you talk to Tona North America, they will absolutely say that these are 100% made in Japan. Not all Tona products, but their ratchets of this style are made in Japan. This is again an indexing head as opposed to a pure flex head, which is a matter of preference. Let's throw some sockets on there. We'll throw Koken sockets on them since they're all Japanese. Boy, that's a pretty tight interface. That's nice. And the quick release button is nice. Works well. Nepros, again, this is just a little bit like the balance point is here and there's nothing to grab there. You grab it down here and it wants to sort of fall over. So I think that's, I don't know, it's a little bit, almost have to push the button to get the socket on there. And it's a little bit looser fit. Yeah, I would say at 150 bucks, you better really want this ratchet. And the Koken, with the Koken ratchet, Koken socket. Magic. I mean, if I could have a toolbox with all Koken sockets and ratchets, I might do that. I mean, I love my Snap-on stuff too, but they make great products. I'd say they make products that are as nice as Snap-on products. And sometimes they're expensive and sometimes they're less. Snap-on's a little different. I think Snap-on's a little beefier if you're doing some high torque stuff. You know, you can see that the yoke on this is smaller. It's a lighter weight ratchet. The head size is smaller. It's probably not the ratchet you want to grab when, again, you should be probably grabbing a 1/2 inch ratchet or a breaker bar, but you know, you're going to use a 3/8 inch anyway. Yeah, at any rate. So Koken, Nepros, Tona, all great ratchets. I'd say none of these get eliminated in this round, and we'll wait till we look at them all before making final determinations on which ones I'd recommend. That is Tools and Twisties out for today.